Greetings, everybody. How are you? It's the Football Diehards Friday Night Live. Bob and Emil here. I'm Bob Harris. He's Emil Cadlick from FootballDiehards.com. We'd like to answer some questions every Friday night. This is a big night. It's Week 16. Championships to be won. I'll just let everyone know if you're seeing this on the Twitter. I won't be answering Twitter questions this week because there's games tomorrow. 3 games we'll all be looking forward to. The Houston Texans at Tampa Bay. New England at Buffalo, the Rams at San Francisco to close out the day. So a full slate then. Emil, how you doing? You ready for a big football weekend?
Yeah, it's going to be strange. It was strange not having a game on Thursday, and all of a sudden they're split through all of Saturday. Should be a lot of fun.
Right, it's really weird all of a sudden not having a Thursday game, and the Saturday will be enjoyable. They kind of split up the Sunday slate nicely, so those of us who are addicted to Red Zone won't get a dearth of action in the late afternoon window. We're going to take your questions here on the Periscope mostly as they crank up. I want to cover a couple news items. Josh Jacobs out this week, will not play. No Chris Godwin tomorrow. Julian Edelman questionable tomorrow. I think for the Texans, Carlos Hyde and Will Fuller both questionable, both expected to play. We'll see how that goes. We'll have game time decisions on the website in advance. You can tune into the Football Diehards on SiriusXM NFL Radio as well in the hour and a half leading up to kickoff. I think it's actually 11 to 12:36 or something Eastern time, or 12:26. So check that out. Other news: Dak Prescott off the injury report. He will play as usual. Derrick Henry off the injury report. Will play as usual. Will Greer will start for the Carolina Panthers at quarterback. Dalvin Cook, Alexander Mattison, a mystery for Monday night. Mike Boone is standing by. Everyone's dying to play him. I'm not sure he's going to get the same kind of workload you would expect from those other guys. Amir Abdullah will be in the mix, but it does seem that Boone is next man up. DeAndre Washington, by the way, in for Josh Jacobs. Jalen Richard will chip in there as well. So plenty of stuff going on. I'm sure the questions will be piling up soon, and we'll get to all of those here that we can in the next 30 minutes. So what do they got, Emil?
Well, first question we have is Boone or Sanders, PPR?
So here's the problem for me with telling anyone to play Mike Boone right now. Number one, tomorrow this could all change if Alexander Mattison is able to go. I don't think either of them are going to go. The issue is how big of a split do I think there's going to be? Amir Abdullah could kick in as a receiver. C.J. Ham, the fullback, could kick in a little bit. I'm probably going Sanders here, hoping for last week's production, and we'll see if we get it or not. It was a big week for him last week. They're very excited about him in Philadelphia. That'd be the direction I go.
I totally agree. Okay, PPR, Tannehill, Dak Prescott, or Matty Ice?
I'd probably go Tannehill. Look, we keep talking about this on the Football Die Hard show on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. Mike Dempsey is convinced that at some point Ryan Tannehill is turning back into Ryan Tannehill, probably this week. And it could happen, but he's been consistently high-end since he took over as a starter. I'm going to go that way. I don't want to outsmart myself. I think Matt Ryan's a fine option as well if you're a little nervous. I'm just going with the guy who's been a little more consistently productive. Ryan was it last week. But it's kind of been up or down for him, and his offensive line has had issues. So I'm going with Tannehill. Wouldn't talk you out of Ryan.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. New Orleans is the 25th ranked in our stats in Football Diehards for passing. Yet I still fear them, even though they're on the road at Tennessee. Maybe it's the pass I'm worried about.
Yeah, I think we have the Ryan Tannehill baggage. One of the issues for me, and if you go to the site and read my 3 and out column, I'm not big on A.J. Brown this week because I think the Marshawn Lattimore treatment, he's been really inconsistent, right? 7 games a single digit, 7 games a double digit. The last 2 games have been phenomenal. So I'm a little worried about that, but nonetheless, I would still be playing him, and I'm still playing Tannehill if I have him, and I'm hoping for the best.
Yeah, okay, here we go. Sony, Mitchell, or Singletary, full PPR.
I'll go ahead and play Singletary for the workload. I mean, it's not the greatest matchup, but we saw Joe Mixon run against him last week pretty effectively. I've seen Joe Mixon run against everyone pretty effectively for that matter. A guy that's really coming on with a great matchup tomorrow as well for Mixon, or Sunday against Miami. But in Singletary's case, look, I think he has a little bit of equity as a receiver as well. So I'm going to go in that direction and hope for the best. Michelle's hard for me to play anymore.
It's tough. Here's another one. I hope I can read this without messing up. There's so many. Okay, here we are. Let's see if it says PPR. It says PPR. Drake, Anthony Miller, D. Johnston, Washington. I hope that's the right Washington. Le'Veon Bell. Madison, if of course he is healthy, or Mostert. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
How many does he need?
He doesn't say.
So when you don't tell us how many you need and you give us 6 names to choose from, that's a pretty broad thing, and I'm not going to sit here and rank them. If you like them, go to footballdiehards.com/free trial. We have our staff rankings up, and you'll find them there. If you want to narrow it down and let us know how many you need, we'll go. I will say, I like Drake's matchup against Seattle. The defense is beat up. I don't want to be chasing Drake's 4-touchdown game, but it's a pretty good matchup for him against Seattle's been pretty generous. I'm a little worried about DeAndre Washington. I'm fine playing. Anthony Miller, I like. The Chiefs matchup is a little tough. Le'Veon Bell, revenge game, but I think it's a revenge game, like Dempsey says, for the Steelers. They're going to be out for blood.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's hilarious.
Right, it's the reverse revenge, right? It plays both ways. Mostert, I think I'm fine playing, but I'm just not comfortable with the workload or confident in it. We saw what he did last week, Emil, 10 touches, 10 carries.
I can go check here in a sec.
But I just didn't think it was high end. And look, I mean, he can go off any given week. And Madison, I just can't because I don't know if he's going to play or not.
Let me ask a dumb question here. And looking at Anthony Miller, I don't remember. Is the Bears still in it as far as have a chance to be?
No, the Bears aren't in it. But I will say this. I mean, he's been pretty consistent. But the Chiefs' secondary has been playing really well. The last month or so. Okay. And so I like him. I think he's a solid floor play, but I don't know about the upside in this one.
All right, we got a couple more here. PPR 1 running back, 1 flex. We have Chubb. We have Mack. Allen Robinson, Perryman, Boone, and Singletary. Well, that's a decent.
I'm going with the first 2. Max matchup is too good to pass up for me. The Carolina run defense giving up the most rushing touchdowns to running backs in the league. We saw it last week. Chris Carson tore him up. And Chubb, I mean, I'm not sitting Chubb almost any time. I get it. Yeah. The Baltimore defense is very tough. I don't know if any of these options rise to the level that I'd want to switch out for him.
Yeah.
So that's the direction I'd go.
And they're in Cleveland. That helps a little bit because Baltimore
a little bit maybe
is really good at home. Well,
doesn't hurt.
That's my bias. All right, Fuller or Conley PPR. He also has Hopkins. So I assume he's starting Hopkins.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I don't mind putting all my eggs in one basket. If it's a really good basket, that's a pretty good basket with a great matchup. The Buccaneers' pass defense is been sieve-like, so I could go that way. But I could also go the other way. I mean, I think it's a good enough situation that I'd probably pivot away and not put all the eggs in that basket.
Cool. All right, Perryman or Metcalf, half a point PPR.
So the answer to almost all these Perriman or questions is going to be Perriman, unless it's Julio Jones or DeAndre. Because here's why, right? And we've talked about this a lot, and I've written about it a fair amount on the site. But Jameis Winston has thrown for 450 yards in back-to-back games. Beyond that, the Buccaneers are the pass-heaviest team in the league. Basically, they don't run the football. They don't even try to run the football. They don't do any of those things. So we've got no Chris Godwin. We had 2 guys, in fact, who were in the top 10 of fantasy wide receivers. Any given week, one of them, Godwin or Evans, was in the top 5. So those guys are gone. Rashad Perriman comes off a 3-touchdown game in Detroit, going against Darius Slay a fair amount of time, pretty tough coverage. Had a great game. He'd had great games leading up to that. So basically, I'm just saying, I think Perriman, much like DeAndre Washington, I'm viewing as a plug-and-play option for Josh Jacobs, is the plug-and-play option for Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Is he as good as those guys? Maybe not. He's still a former first-round pick. Didn't work out in his first home or his second home. Maybe it works out here. But I just think the opportunities are what I'm playing in this case. And there is upside, as we saw last week and the week before.
Yeah, and the numbers are there. Yeah, okay. So now we have half a point PPR. Le'Veon Bell or Boone?
So as much as I don't want to play Le'Veon Bell, I'm not telling anyone to play Boone until we know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So
now, if Madison was completely out, let's say Madison's completely out and you knew it.
Exactly. If we get that kind of clarity tomorrow and the injury report will be out, you'll want to go to footballdiehards.com check the late breaking update section. It'll probably be about 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock Eastern time that we get those injury reports, and I'll be updating it, throughout the day if anything arises that might be of interest. But yeah, I'm not eager to play Bell. I'm not eager to play the Jets.
Minnesota plays Monday night, if I have it right. So
right, that is correct. So we won't get the final injury report.
Get that, yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say,
Bell then.
Right. Well, I'm going to say that unless you get the clarity, and even if you get it, I mean, that's my problem here. I've seen Boone ranked highly. I think a lot of it is based on the 2 touchdowns he scored last week. Maybe he does that again, maybe he doesn't. But do I know that he's getting that full workload, or do I think Amir Abdullah's chipping in? Or, so I'm just not certain. I mean, but that said, if I get that clarity, I'd probably take that shot with him over Bell going against the Pittsburgh defense. It's been really tough.
Yeah. And Boone didn't get any targets last week, so he's not going to get the help of a few PPR, catches, short catches for a few yards. You're not going to get that with Boone, so you have to factor that in. All right, we got about 4 more here real quick. Half a point PPR, pick 2 wide receivers. Hilton, Boyd, Shepard, Sanders, and G. Ward. 2 out of 5.
Boyd, and I'd probably take a chance with Hilton. He's off the injury report this week. Had the week back. It wasn't a great game his first week back. I know that, so look, if you have a problem with Hilton, I mean, I could endorse Shepard. I think he's back as the true wide receiver 1 there. I think, and
had a nice
Daniel Jones got some things done. So I could co-sign on that. I mean, Boyd is the easy one here. Number 1, coming off a lousy week. His coach said he got bullied by the Patriots, and he kind of did. Stephon Gilmore had almost as many catches and more touchdowns from Andy Dalton. But I think this matchup against the Miami is too good to pass up for me, for Boyd. And I'd go Hilton. Wouldn't talk you out of Shepard. Sanders not as keen on going against Jalen Ramsey.
Okay, all right. Bench 1, Tyler Boyd, A.J. Brown, or Kenny Golladay?
I'd probably bench Brown. Just don't know what he's going to do against Marshawn Lattimore. Golladay, though, has Chris Harris. So, I mean, it's those two, depending on how you feel. Look, Tannehill's been playing better than David Blau for the most part, I think we could say, although Blau has not been horrible and it hasn't precluded Golladay from scoring touchdowns. They both have really tough coverages. I'd probably have a slight lean to the better offense in general at this point, and maybe that's the Tennessee offense, but I don't feel great about it.
Yeah, that's a tough one. All right, need 1 wide receiver, PPR, Edelman, Perryman, Fuller, and Hilton. Wow, he's got some choices there.
Yeah, I'm playing Perryman. I mean, and again, I feel like the hammer that only sees Perryman nails, because I see that thing pop up and I'm banging it, man. I want some of that just because that offense is so pass heavy. And again, the Texans matchup is not that hard. I get nervous anytime I'm recommending someone this much. I feel like I'm setting the entire world up for a horrible failure. Because I'm all in on one guy, and so that is a concern. I think these are all great options. Obviously, feel free to pivot.
Well, it would have been nice to have Hilton get a really solid game in. He got a good game in last week, but
I'm a little encouraged by the fact that
he played.
I'm a little encouraged by the fact he's off the injury report altogether, and he has a game under his belt, and kind of made it through it without getting any worse. But I just think they're going to hammer Marlon Mack in this one because that's what you do against Carolina. You run on them.
Yeah, there you are. All right, pick 3. Non-PPR, Jones, I assume he means Aaron Jones, Mack, Drake, and Mostert. So basically just eliminating 1.
Yeah, Mostert's going to take a seat. I'm playing the workloads. This is pretty simple. I get it that Mostert has had some big games and he's capable of making big plays. So are these other guys, and they have more complete roles in my estimation.
Yeah, I agree with that one. That's a good one. Okay, 2-quarterback league. So I assume he's got 1 quarterback, and he's saying D-Lock or Minshew. Minshew.
I'm going with Minshew.
Okay.
I mean, so in general, I mean, it's, just thinking it through here, I mean, it's a pretty good matchup outside of Darius Slay. And obviously, we saw last week what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did to him. did to that Detroit defense. So wouldn't talk you out of that. I'm just going the other way. I think Minshew's a solid play this week.
Okay,
Should have
another running back question with if Madison plays, would you start Madison over Mostert?
Probably not. I mean, it's tempting there's some nuance to that one. If I really thought Madison was in good shape and ready to make a full run at it, I probably would, because I think he's a true plug and play guy. I don't have a great deal of confidence that he's going to be cleared to play or that he's going to get something not questionable. He has not practiced at all this week. So expecting him to be anything better than questionable seems like a reach. So I'd probably go the other way in this one, but watch the injury report.
Yeah, we're changing the name of the show to If Madison Plays for this week only. For this week only. Okay.
If Madison plays, well, I'm playing Rashad Perriman. We'll name it that.
I like that. That's even better. Higbee or Jay Cook, full PPR. If Everett plays, thanks in advance.
Everett is going to play.
Okay.
Everett's healthy. He's off the injury report. Or is he going to be a healthy scratch? I doubt it. I still think Higbee's 3-game run here has been pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Talked to Joe Curley of the Ventura County Star just a short time ago. Covers the Rams on a daily basis. He's a huge Everett guy. Has talked him up forever. And when I asked him this question today about Higbee, he says there's no way that they don't keep playing that role that he has, the role that he's on.
Yeah.
The 300-yard games is kind of hard to overlook. I'd probably go with him and hope for the best. It is a pretty tough matchup. So, and the Tennessee Titans aren't that great at stopping the tight end, or haven't been, certainly scoring tight ends. So, look, if you're worried about Everett cutting into the workload, go ahead and play Cook. I think that's a reasonable pivot.
Sounds good. By the way, just to point out, we talked about Mostert a couple of times. He's had 12 points PPR last week, 11 points non-PPR against Atlanta, 14 carries, 52 yards, rushing touchdown, 2 targets, 1 catch, 5 yards. And then the previous 2 weeks, he had 24 at New Orleans and 23 at Baltimore. But I think that was before Breida came back full strength.
Yeah, it was.
So,
right.
So which is the problem. Okay, so next one. Okay, do you guys think Perryman from Tampa will go off against again this weekend? I think we gotta say yes. We're saying yes on that. Okay.
I can explain it all again, but it's getting a little redundant.
We're good. We can skip that and move to the others. Okay, another running. Defense, San Francisco or Baltimore?
I'm probably playing Baltimore. So I think one of the things that I like to do is pick on the quarterback. I think right now, I think you could pick on Jared Goff, but I'd rather pick on Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, the
whole team is just a little dysfunctional. Kareem Hunt saying guys are quitting, guys going all over to the sidelines and asking the other teams. It just seems like their focus is not necessarily on the field. Maybe that changes this week. Maybe it all comes together, but I'm picking on Baker.
They both have potential because how the Rams don't play well. Goff does not play well on the road.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Okay, and in prime time.
He's got some great opportunities. I like to play Baltimore at home a lot more, but they still
San Francisco, their injuries on defense have been a little bit of an issue, and teams have been able to get a little something done on them against them. Passing, they've gotten harder to run against and easier to throw on it. They've kind of swapped from what they were about a month ago. But Baltimore.
Okay, Miles Sanders, Austin Eckler, or Boone Standard League?
In a standard league, I'd probably go Sanders. I just think he's going to have a pretty steady role. There's a lot of injuries there still. I don't think Nelson Aguilar. Jordan Howard obviously probably is not going to play. I know he's listed as questionable, but I don't think he's cleared for contact yet. So I'm going Sanders and hoping for another repeat of last week.
Yeah, that was nice. It's fantastic. Okay, it says here, Chark or Debo, concerned about Chark's injury, standard scoring.
So this is my co-host on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. Mike Dempsey is also covers the Jaguars on a daily basis. He has a worry that I think Chark is going to play. He's listed as questionable. Doug Marrone said he'd likely play. But Dempsey keeps pointing out that he's 44 yards away from a 1,000-yard season. They'd like to maybe get him that. Then maybe they dial back on him. That's a reasonable concern. I think I could go with Deebo Samuel in this one, expecting a full game, but also with Sanders drawing the Jalen Ramsey coverage most likely. This is a tough one because, Chark has been playing at a true wide receiver one level. If he was 100% healthy, this would be an easy call for me. Won't talk you out of Chark. I'm probably going to, if you're playing it safe and you don't read let's do it like this. If you need a home run swing, go Chark. He's the big play threat. If you need a more solid floor, I would go with Deebo Samuel.
That sounds good. Next question. Tannehill or Dak Prescott? Not sure.
Okay, so we ranked Prescott slightly higher. I think in a vacuum, I would like to play Prescott. If you trust that the injury is not going to be an issue, go ahead and play Dak Prescott. That would be my preference. I always talk about this, though, constantly on the radio and in articles. If I have two guys in the same range and one's healthy and one's not, I generally play the one who starts the game healthy because it's easy enough to get hurt playing football that you don't need to go into a game already hurt. I'm a little surprised that the Cowboys pulled Prescott off the injury report completely, no designation. Yeah. I think that's a good sign, whether it will be medicine or they strap the shoulder up. It's his throwing shoulder, but it's such a great matchup. If he's playing, I'd like to think he can exploit it.
On top of it, it's such a huge game, Dallas versus Philadelphia. I'm not saying New Orleans at Tennessee isn't important, but there's a lot about this game.
Say, look, Amari Cooper hasn't been as good on the road as he is at home. That's clear, so maybe that factors in. But the Philadelphia pass defense is still horrible. They're getting better, and they're still horrible. They're giving up like
getting better, and they're still horrible.
Points to wide receivers. I just think we get a little course correction for guys like Cooper and Gallup this week, assuming Dak is ready to go. So if I don't hear anything, worrisome, I'm going to go that direction.
All right, again, next question. It's a, did they say what? A PPR. Now get your pencil ready. One wide receiver, one flex. Allen Robinson, Perryman, Boyd, White, Boone, D. Washington.
So I'm probably going to play Perriman, and I'd probably go Washington, but these are great options here. I'm going DeAndre Washington, hoping for the big workload for Oakland. Not as hard, a little harder to pass the ball than it is to run against the Chargers. That's the direction I'm going. I like Allen Robinson. In fact, I love Allen Robinson. This maybe isn't the best matchup for him against the Chiefs. Again, they've been improving greatly against opposing receivers. Their secondary is playing a lot better. But look, if you wanted to play him over Washington, I wouldn't talk you out of it. And I'm not playing the James White. In this case.
Yes, it's a tough one, the way they flip-flop around in New England with who plays. Okay, follow-up question. Would you start Boone over Chark or Deebo, standard league?
Sure. But you need to watch the injury report. Yeah. We don't know who's playing yet.
Okay, it says here, sorry if you got to this already. I need 2 out of these 3. 2 out of these 3. James Washington, Stills, and A. Miller.
I play Anthony Miller. And probably, maybe Washington. I guess, look, so Kenny Stills, coming off a 2-touchdown game, but it's been kind of not really that steady, right? That's the appeal there. His last week was a great game. I'm not sure, he's the third man in that totem pole at best, and if they're in the red zone, maybe Darren Fells is ahead of him. So I'm going to go Washington and ahead of him.
Sounds good. I think those make sense. All right, next question. Boone or Mostert?
Have we mentioned we don't know what Boone is doing yet?
Assuming X, Y, Z.
Let's say there is no Cook and Madison. They're completely ruled out. I would consider playing Boone. I still have concerns that Boone is going to lose touches to Amir Abdullah. I don't know that for sure, but that's the problem. And it's the same issue with Mostert. So, kind of if you're looking at the matchups, would you rather play a guy going up against, Green Bay than you would against the Rams? Maybe I would. So, I think it's a reasonable question. The problem is we just don't have the clarity to give you the right answer yet. So, I mean,
Well,
we'll
certainly,
say,
if you don't know what's going on with Minnesota, you're going to probably end up starting Mostert.
right. If you
That's an
so,
earlier
and
game.
I think the only thing that's going to gum that up is Madison getting the questionable tag instead of being ruled out, because the talk is that Dalvin Cook won't play until the postseason. And, again, Madison hasn't practiced this week. If he somehow pulls off the questionable designation, I only suggest this is possible because Mike Zimmer suggested it was possible earlier this week. So there we have that. Do we have any more
Sounds
Boone
good.
questions? Because I love those.
Not yet. I can throw that on the board. A guy just said, and I am a little tired this week, where are you taking questions from? Question mark. Oh,
Periscope.
Periscope.
So we're not on Twitter. If you're asking me questions on Twitter, I'm not going to answer. I'm not going to be on Twitter until next week. So
right, I got another question here. Yeah, sorry, I am that. I actually figured it out by the time. Okay, let me get this. I also found out if you spell things wrong in Periscope, it won't let you enter that into the question box. That's hilarious. Took me 2 weeks to figure that out. Okay, would you be afraid to start Anthony Miller with Allen Robinson? He lost.
That is not the best basket to put all your eggs in, but they have been pretty consistently productive in recent weeks. If it was if I was in a bind, then yes, I would be able to do that. Again, it's not the most favorable matchup for the Bears passing attack, but they've been playing well the last month.
Well, yeah, they both had some big games. He lost Godwin, so he's probably in a position where he doesn't have a lot of choice.
That'd be suitable.
They do have some. They've had high ceilings, both of those players lately, so that helps. Okay,
double digits for Anthony Miller the last month.
Yeah, PPR, Boone or Chubb?
I'm going to play Chubb.
I agree with that one. Okay, let's see. What's he say here? Concern about A.J. Brown versus Lattimore. Play Gallup or Metcalf instead?
I share in your concern. I would play Metcalf.
Bingo. Next question. A.J. Brown or Perryman? Gee, I wonder what you're going to say.
Where's my hammer? Perryman.
By the way, just to point this out, I really think, A.J. Brown's a guy who's moving up the chart a little bit. And, the guy to remember for next year, I think he's going to have a big year.
Right. I think he's phenomenal. Go to the website, footballdiehards.com. If you're not a subscriber, go to footballdiehards.com/free trial and get it for free for a couple weeks. But go to the individual player page for A.J. Brown. Just put his name, Brown, into the search box, select him, and look at his scoring week to week. It's been 7 games of single digits, 7 games of double digits. I think, obviously he's trending in an upward direction. And Ryan Tannehill's playing great, but I'm kind of with you. I'm kind of with the question. I'm kind of worried about the Marshawn Lattimore matchup a little bit and the inconsistency.
And for next year, just trying to analyze for next year, A.J. Brown, you got to decide, is this team really going to start throwing the ball like they have been? Because they'll need that for him to be a very productive guy. But I have a funny feeling.
By the way, Derrick Henry off the injury report, so they will be running as well. It's a really tough run defense, though, so that'll be interesting to see.
Okay, Denver or Baltimore's defense?
I would like to pick on David Blau. So, look, I think both of these are fine plays. I'd probably lean Baltimore just because they're a better defense in general right now.
Yeah, we've got them ranked number 1 on our rankings, and Denver number 3. Of course, Denver's.
Yeah, it's not, again, no wrong answer on that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, let's see. Miles Sanders or Austin Eckler, standard league?
I'm going to probably play Sanders in a standard league.
Sounds like it makes sense. Broncos or Seattle defense?
Broncos.
And that's it for right now. We actually caught up with the questions.
All right, well, that's a convenient time. We've done our half hour. We'll kind of wrap it up for tonight. We hope you all enjoyed this. And again, if you are interested in more information, go to footballdiehards.com. If you're not a subscriber, go to footballdiehards.com/free trial. We will give you 2 weeks free. We have tons of rankings, tons of content, audio, video, this video included, a constant stream of news updates that'll run through each set of kickoffs, giving you all the inactives in real time. You can also check just tons of DFS columns, including work from Bobby Gomes, a DraftKings Millionaire Maker winner, Kyle Dvorak, Justin Lanero. We have work from Gary Davenport, one of the sharpest IDP minds in the world on the site, Evan Tarciano, Mike Valverde. Who am I forgetting, Emil? Me. I'm on there too somewhere.
You're on there too, yeah.
And great tools, DFS lineup optimizer, Great way to help set your lineups and after you read our various columns and stuff, and tons of tools, stats, and other information, including the free agency tool, something you want to get in and try out this year. So next year when you have all your team, use the free agency tool, pulls in all your teams from all the various platforms, and gives you the best picks of the available free agents in those leagues. So check all that stuff out. Also listen to the Football Diehards on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio pretty much every single day of the week, and on Saturday, including tomorrow, on SiriusXM NFL Radio. Tune in at 11 a.m. Tomorrow, and we'll be there Saturday, and we'll catch you then. All right, Emil.
All right,
Let's
good
sign
luck
off.
on your championship weekends.
Yeah, win.